Well, hello there. This is Ash Teeter with Lost Coast Populist hosting the Reading Between the Headlines news review. And what we're doing right here is we got the recent little article I slapped together. It's titled No More Biden Lies, 2024 New Year's Resolution. So we'll read through this thing and then we'll get on to some other news, because this segment of Reading Between the Headlines it's kind of focused on the money. It's all about the money. So it's, one of the big things that just happened was we attacked some Iranian forces that are based out of Iraq. I think we'll get to that in a little bit here, but that's what the nuclear explosion is, above Biden's head there in the picture. It says, the Ukraine money pit dried up. So it's time for a new war. So will this conflict with Iran, even though they're bombing Iran forces in Iraq, will this lead us to a more serious war that could have, even a footprint on U.S. soil? And that might really get some people's attention here. But anyways, on to the article. Yes. I'll check on audio here. Make sure the mic's going through. Okay, it looks like it's going through. It's beautiful. It's going. In the realm of politics, absolute statements are commonplace. Leaders, regardless of their affiliation, often make bold claims about the state of the economy, employment rates, crime statistics, and border situations. President Biden made many such assertions. One such assertion is, the Biden economy is flourishing. One claim that President Joe Biden and his entourage make on a pretty regular basis is that Bidenomics is working, and it's working well. That inflation is down, and that America is prospering. These claims are ultimately rejected by the American people, who for the most part have the common sense along with the eyes and ears to tell them otherwise. But this is from whitehouse.gov. It says, quote, Bidenomics is working. The president's plan grows in the economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. But yeah, I'm pretty much considered low income, I think. Anyways, anything, I think it's anything under like 60 grand a year or something now is like considered low income, But yeah, the middle class starts at like 70,000 or 90,000. I forget exactly what it is these days, but it's pretty dwarfed from what it used to be, but that just shows the value of the dollar. Anywho, verifying such ridiculous claims through multiple reputable sources can be tricky when so many media agencies are financially compromised. This is why political statements should be cross-examined with reliable data and analysis from diverse perspectives to form a more accurate understanding. And that means, like, in this day and age, that you need to really look for alternative media sources to kind of check out some different angles on things, because the corporate media is so sold out. But yeah, the American people are not buying what the White House is selling. This they can see, or can be seen, in an article by The Hill featuring former President Obama senior advisor David Axelrod, saying that a recent Wall Street Journal poll showed President Biden's approval rating hitting a new low, looking very, very dark for Biden's re-election campaign. Job approval down, ratings generally down. most of the comparatives with former President Trump, not good, Axelrod said in the podcast. Hacks on Tap, which he co-hosts with former White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs and potential political media consultant Mike Murphy. And then another such claim that the Biden regime makes, that unemployment is down. Another claim made by those within the Biden regime is that unemployment is down. This is inaccurate due to the manipulation of pandemic-forced joblessness and the manufactured rebound when Biden took office. People resuming their old jobs after the lockdown ceased to be enforced does not result in the actual creation of new jobs. But here's a little clip of Biden touting this, so we'll play that real quick.
We created over 13 million brand new jobs since I took office.
Wrong.
13 million in less than 3 years. 90,000 new jobs right here in New Mexico.
Bullshit.
800,000 manufacturing jobs nationwide.
Just not true.
Nope. The share of working age Americans with jobs is as high as it's been in 20 years. That's never happened under my predecessor. So where are we now?
Wrong. Yep. I don't know, but you know what? When it comes to vote time,
one of us is in deep trouble.
And I think it's that guy. But anyways. So, the U.S. unemployment rate was just 3.7% in November, barely above the pre-pandemic level of 3.5%, which was a 5-decade low. Annual inflation has also fallen sharply from the peak of 9.1% in June 2022 to a 3.1% in November. And the economy has defied widespread predictions of recession. But you look around, I'd say we're in a recession. No matter how much lipstick they slap on this pig, it seems pretty devastating there. I mean, the value of the dollar, you go to the grocery store, yeah, they can spin it however they want, spending like 3 to 4 more times, or at least close to double at the grocery store. But additionally, like we've seen, California's unemployment rates are misrepresented by excluding people who have gave up on looking for work. People who have joined the ever-growing homeless or houseless community. It does not take long for people living in such dire situations to be incapable of getting or maintaining a job due to lack of a stable living situation. I mean, you try going into a job interview, without a shower, without clean clothes. It's really tough to get a job. You try sleeping out in the cold and getting, being prepared to go in for a job. It just doesn't really work out like that usually. But politicians may have vested interests in presenting information in a certain light. Recognizing these tricks helps in interpreting their statements more objectively. And then another Biden claim, there's no problem at the U.S.-Mexico border. It's all under control. What's his name? Alexandro Mayorkas constantly claims, it's what problem? It's just fine down there. It's all peachy keen, as there's like tens of thousands of people crossing a day, getting shipped off to different states or across the country, and pretty much being brought in like on welfare, and they're getting benefits, paid to do nothing, while there's starving veterans on the streets. It's just about as ass backwards as things can get. I mean, pretty flipping crazy here. But anyways, one issue that's getting harder to openly lie about is the immigration problem at the U.S.-Mexico border. Democrat politicians in states like New York, who once declared to be sanctuary states or sanctuary cities, are turning on the Biden administration, acknowledging the unsolvable problem created by Biden's failed border policies. And that pretty much is like an open invitation. That's the main failed policy. You're saying like, hey, you come on in and you're just going to get all these benefits. And he's delivering on that, so people keep coming. But here's another little video of Biden talking about the border. And this is, here's a clip of Biden weighing in on the border issue from almost a year ago. So ask yourself, watch this and ask yourself, has it improved? Okay. Has this improved here, huh? Let's see here, huh?
If you're trying to leave Cuba, Nicaragua, or Haiti, or have agreed to begin a journey to America, do not just show up at the border. Stay where you are and apply legally from there. Starting today, if you don't apply through the legal process, you will not be eligible for this new parole program. One must have a lawful sponsor here in the United States who agrees to sponsor you to get here. Then, that person has to undergo rigorous background checks and apply from outside the United States and not cross the border illegally in the meantime. If they apply and their application is approved, they can use the same app, the CBP-1 app, to present at a port of entry and be able to work in the United States legally for 2 years. That's the process. But if their application is denied, or if they attempt to cross into the United States unlawfully, they'll be returned back to Mexico and will not be eligible for this program after that.
Yes, such is the claim, but how do we keep track of them, Because they come in and all they're set up for is a hearing, It's like, yeah, they're like, okay, well, we've got this hearing, and that whole process is so backed up that you don't have a hearing till like 5 years from now. So we'll try and track you down then, but until that point, who knows where people are headed off to? It's kind of a mystery. Who knows? Yeah. But anywho, media groups who are typically aligned or sensitive to left-wing politics have also begun to turn on Biden and his border fiasco. No longer claiming that it's a right-wing conspiracy, or that having sensible immigration policy is somehow racist, fascist, or literally Hitler in the flesh. Another Trump presidency would lead to World War III. That's another one of these, wild claims that we've heard, So one Biden classic talking point from the 2020 campaign trail, or even from the Hillary campaign in 2016. It was, just claiming that President Trump would pretty much result in World War III. Something that Biden is pulling off pretty much all on his own here, with tensions in the Middle East higher than ever, and the new U.S. adversaries being formed through the apparent failures in Biden's foreign policy. This is from Fox KTVU. Reported that the U.S. strikes were carried out, and this is about Biden issuing an attack on Iran. But it's I guess Iranian forces that are in Iraq. That says strikes were carried out at almost 4:45 a.m. on Tuesday in Iraq, less than 13 hours after the U.S. personnel were attacked, according to the U.S. Central Command. The retaliatory strikes on these 3 sites destroyed the target's facilities and likely killed a number of the Kataib Hezbollah militants. Quote, "The president places no higher priority than the protection of American personnel serving in harm's way," Watson said. "The United States will act at a time and manner of our choosing should these attacks continue." Media pundits once coined the phrase that everything is all right because the adults are back in the room. There may be adult diapers, but that seems to be about as far as it has went. Growing levels of anxiety have been reported by Americans of all walks of life and all political affiliations, feeling less safe now with the feeble, fettered hands of Biden behind the wheel. Then another crime that we've heard is that, you got crime under control. Crime is down under Biden. It's like, yeah, crime across the nation. It's claimed to be under control by the Biden regime, pointing to the right-wing extremists or white nationalists and racism being our country's biggest threats. Once again, twisting the truth in so many ways, with burglary of multiple retailers being justified by the need created in Biden's failed economy. There's a video here on the task force created to address retail theft surge that was happening in Los Angeles. We'll take a little gander at that here.
Making news around the state, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and law enforcement leaders are taking action to address the recent surge in retail thefts. Today, Bass announced the formation of a new task force to crack down on retail thefts, and that went into effect last night. This comes as police investigate the brazen daytime robbery of Nordstrom at the Topanga Mall on Saturday. A Gucci store at the Westfield Century City Mall was also hit by a flash mob earlier this month.
These criminals use weapons or simulated weapons. They use intimidation techniques to take this merchandise. In each of these acts, they take just a little bit away from our peace of mind, for our sense of safety in the community, and our sense of security when we want to go out and do shopping at our retail communities.
In addition to the task force, Mayor Bass announced a hotline for tips apprehending smash and grab robbers. The multi-agency task force will use informants, cyber investigators, and other tactics, also targeting those who buy the stolen goods.
Yeah, look at that. A couple people popped up on chat and YouTube, so say howdy to Carolina County Homesteading. How's it going? Good evening to you too. And then Access Humboldt Incorporated. Hello. How's it going there, folks? Thank you for tuning in here. But yeah, we're moving right on to let's see what's next on the list. Gotta get out of the full screen and back to, let's see, yes. So yeah, the Daily Mail reported on an old clip of Democrat radical Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez defending shoplifters as hungry people seeking bread has resurfaced in the wake of the Philadelphia looting that have seen at least 30 people charged so far. The New York Congresswoman sat down in a video from 2020 and described what she thought, why she thought people loot. And according to AOC, it's so they go out and they need to feed their children, but they don't have money. And they're put in a position where they feel like they need to shoplift some bread or go hungry at night. And that's what AOC said. But does that really account for, breaking into these high-end retailers and just, grabbing all this loot? I mean, yeah, it seems a little bit more than just trying to feed Tiny Tim there. But yeah, then also we have recent violent protests put on by the pro-Palestinian activists may be a result of Biden's failed foreign policy as well. These protests have interrupted holiday celebrations across the country. I've got a little video of that. I think this is from the in New York here, interrupting those protests. Oh, that is loud. Let me turn that down a bit. Just madness. I mean, look at that. Well, there's just about a full hour of that footage, and we're not sitting through that crap. So, anyways, feel free to check that back or watch that if you want to. It says 6 protesters arrested at cancel Christmas for Palestine protest in NYC. It's by LLN NYC. You can go and you can find it on the article on the Lost Coast Populist site here. But so this is something we've witnessed to a lesser extent here locally in Humboldt County. Not so much violence, but the threat of it, like the BLM George Floyd protests. The phrase "no justice, no peace" was being shouted through a megaphone at the Humboldt County Courthouse. And it's not actually in this video clip. I think it's in some other footage. I couldn't find it, but they were saying it. And this phrase suggests that there will be violence if the protesters do not get whatever it is they're seeking, equating justice to a single outcome predetermined by the group making the demand. Yeah, that's right. They are animals, aren't they? Yes. But so this is what Biden recently said also, is that the economy is not failing here. The news is they're just not reporting it right, They're just getting it all wrong. Says President Biden speaks to members of the media as he leaves the White House to spend Christmas holiday with his family, December 23rd, 2023. This is from Manuel Balse Centra. When asked about the state of the economy, Joe Biden stated the following: "All good. Take a look. Start reporting it the right way." Yeah, it's all the news, Anyways, will people who previously supported this failure in leadership make the New Year's resolution to just say no to the failure we know is Joe Biden? Can it be any more obvious? And that's the main point of this article here. It's it's kind of constant lies on multiple fronts. But yeah, will people finally wake up? I don't know. But anyways, we're going to move on to some other stories here. So this was going down in Eureka amongst the housing stuff. They had this Eureka City School Board voted on a resolution last week. It was not published before the meeting. Was that legal? But what it was about was this, the vacant Jacob campus in Eureka that so many Eureka residents said hey, that would be a better spot for housing than in Old Town. And, oh, no. See, Eureka's we're going to get CHP to move in there. Yeah. Yeah, but that didn't happen. I guess the county school district, they got a better offer. So it says last week, Eureka City Schools Board of Trustees made what many people consider to be a pretty big decision when it unanimously voted to exchange the long-discussed Jacob campus to a private developer for another small property plus $5.3.5 million. Why is this decision significant? Well, the Jacobs campus, located at 674 Allard Avenue in Eureka's Highland Park neighborhood, has been a source of contention for years. But yeah, more recently, just over the Old Town thing. And hopefully whoever bought it is going to build some housing that actually has parking, and it'll kind of maybe drop some of this nonsense that they're trying to push with the no parking, low income housing in Old Town. But anyways, we also had another longtime local business close, the Fieldbrook Market and Eatery, to close for the foreseeable future. After more than 70 years of service off and on, the Fieldbrook Market and Eatery may close doors for good. The owners of the beloved neighborhood grocery store took to Facebook on Friday morning to announce the very difficult decision to close the market for the foreseeable future. If you've been to the Fieldbrook Market, a lot more. It's a lot more than a convenience store and a sandwich shop. It's an essential part of the community. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's just another reflection of our shit economy here in California. I don't know how many mom and pop shops were forced out by the pandemic when, all your Targets and your big box stores, they were just, herding people in there just fine as long as you wear your mask. But yeah, anyways, onto another housing thing, kind of. Housing and biking, anyways. They love to push their, shrink the roads and you develop the housing without the parking. So you got, winter time, it's freezing as hell over here, and get everybody herded into riding around on their bikes in the rain. I guess that's the end goal here. Pretty sad, but this is the Eureka City Council scraps contentious bike lane proposal for Myrtle Ave. It says, following public comment, council members Scott Bauer noted that the city staff are looking for creative ways to implement the city's complete streets policy where it makes sense. It's something we're trying to do, not something we're going to do. He added that he would have had a hard time supporting the proposal after hearing public feedback, which we will go to now. Yeah. So this guy, we'll play this clip here, but I think he's got over 5,000 views
what
here.
Other neighborhoods in Eureka that
Let's see, I can reload that.
also like to know what other neighborhoods in Eureka that currently have parking adjacent to their homes are having that taken away without compensation, so that that can benefit this community of cyclists that we hope manifests, because they don't currently exist. It's basically a field of dreams. If you build it, they'll come. I haven't spoken to a single person other than the people behind the podium here who are in favor of this proposal. So I, along with all of my neighbors, ask you to just put this thing down. Leave the parking as it is. Thank you very much. Also,
Yeah, and I think that guy, I liked how he referred to as the field of dreams, just like the Kevin Costner movie, this substantial bike riding population is just going to emerge once we build the bike lanes. They're just going to show up and take the city over. We know it. But then at the same time, I think they refused to put bicycle cops in Old Town. So I guess they don't want everyone riding bicycles. I don't know. But anyways, here was my little snidbit that I put in there. Let's see. Oh, am I muted? What's going on? I don't know what happened to that one. Weird. Oh, whatever. We'll skip to the next one here. Oh,
safe, gets up and he rides on the sidewalk.
There we go. Reload that. I was muted. I muted myself.
Just
ha ha ha.
Weigh in on this parking situation. I'd recommend that you do as Council Member Bauer said that he does when he doesn't feel safe. He gets up and he rides on the sidewalks. And you could, like someone was saying earlier, the city's already built out, so you got space for so many things. And what you're doing now is you're encroaching on people who own houses, and if you had this parking for years and you're taking away from it, as so many people before myself have made point of. So maybe you could, there is already bike lanes in some of the sections. Maybe in sections where it doesn't work, you could put signage up on the sidewalks. Legalize riding on the sidewalks and put signage up that directs bikes to one side, pedestrians to the other, on the odd case that they do interact. It's either here and a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bicycle sensitivity courses. That's what they need for all this, this herd of rampant bicyclists, just so they can slow down and not run over the pedestrians on the sidewalks. Have a heart, just look out, use your eyes, don't run over the pedestrians on the sidewalks, and you can share it. But anyways, we got one other one, and this lady was really good too, because she has her own group and had like polls that she brought forward, and they're really, really sticking to. I think she stuck the nail in the coffin of whatever the hell they were trying to pull off.
Or two things that we asked. There's several more, and we'll get to those at other meetings, but I think this speaks volumes. The question is, do you ride a bike as a primary form of transportation in Eureka? 329 people responded no. 10 people responded yes. That is 97.1% people in Eureka saying they don't ride bikes as primary transportation. Next question. Would you consider riding a bike as a primary form of transportation in Eureka? 339 people answered this. 90.9% responded no. 9.1% responded yes. Those are huge numbers, and I don't think you're listening to the community. I think you are listening to your small stakeholder bike community, and I think the voices are going to get louder and louder. Responses. I'm only going to give you two questions, or two things that we asked. There's several more, and we'll get to those at other meetings, but I think this speaks volumes. The question is, do you ride a bike as a primary form of transportation in Eureka? 329 people responded no.
Yeah, you're right. That was pretty good engagement because it actually saw results on this one. So it's yes, it's good to see people showing up and like actually having their own, surveys. That was like a real way to play it and win it. Yeah, Mr. Bike Grant Writer. Yeah. Let's see. But then, so this relates to something in San Francisco here. Another story. It's new bike lane blamed for a drop in business along popular SF Mission corridor. And they've got a little video on it and see what that one has to say there.
We're all hoping tomorrow will be
of course,
better than
after
today.
this
My
pointless
name is Bree
commercial
Brown,
about coffee
we're
and
working
stuff.
to build a safer energy
Yes,
system,
coffee
more
and
reliable, and
power
more
lines.
affordable in the
That's
long run.
totally what it's talking about.
Whether it's stronger poles that can withstand extreme weather, undergrounding lines
Oh, they're
to
just talking
prevent
about
wildfires,
PG&E
or
probably.
installing
Oh, yep.
other technologies
PG&E.
to stop
Let's talk
problems
about how they're going to stick it to
Our
us.
PG&E team knows
We need a lot of
everything
coffee to
matters
stick it to the people while we're
and
climbing
things we
poles
do.
and
That's why
setting
we're proud
fires.
to help
Yes.
build a better future for our hometowns and yours.
Well, it looks like he's about to say something. I don't know. Hello, video.
Happy Friday. I'm Frank
There we go.
Bellico. Tonight, the owner of a small business in San Francisco's Mission District is blaming a new center bike lane for its demise. And now other business owners on Valencia Street are letting city leaders know they oppose the lane. KTVU's Crystal Bailey reports with what those business owners are saying.
Businesses along Valencia Street say they're hurting.
I lost about almost 20%, 25% of revenue due to parking.
We're down at least 30 to 40%.
They blame the new bike lanes installed over the summer.
It's a really big disadvantage.
Huge problem.
It's the same reason David Quinby, owner of Amados on the corner of 21st and Valencia, says he closed his music venue. Many business owners in the corridor have slapped signs on their windows reading, "This bike lane is killing small businesses and our vibrant community."
It's not that we don't like bikers. We really love bicycles and bikers, but it's just really killing our business.
The bike lane costs the
maybe
street
it's if
over
people
70
can't
parking
park in
spaces
front of your
and a few
shop,
parklets,
then
leaving
maybe they're
mostly
not
commercial
less
loading
likely to
zones
stop
or
in or
5-minute parking
something like
spots.
that. Maybe, you know.
Come in, literally comes in here and said, "Oh, I got lucky. I found a parking spot. Otherwise, I wouldn't come in."
An elderly man was killed in September while walking in a crosswalk on the corner of 18th and Valencia, just after these changes
Great, you know,
came
you
into
ride your
effect.
bike and live in your
ran
mom's
over
basement.
because the
It'll be
driver was
perfect
confused
for
where
all
to
those.
go.
Meanwhile, bikers have mixed reviews.
I'm sure it interferes with parking spaces, but you know, it is a city, and I totally appreciate this protected lane.
It's really difficult to get on and off, and like part of what I've always loved about Valencia and biking on it was being able to stop in and grab something and then get back on really easily.
A spokesperson from SFMTA tells us in a statement, the SFMTA is committed to making Valencia Street a safe and inviting place for everyone, and that includes businesses, residents, and those who drive in the area and those who walk, bike, and roll. So they say they made adjustments to loading zones and side streets to create more general parking. They also operate 2 garages in the neighborhood to help alleviate street parking.
I mean, look at
An
that.
MTA staff will meet with the agency's board of directors in early 2024 to decide whether this pilot program is
Such a
working
nightmare driving
and make
Frisco
any
to begin
permanent
with,
changes
but,
to
like,
Valencia Street.
look at how big
in
that
San Francisco,
fucking bike
Crystal
lane
Bailey,
is. Holy
KTVU,
crap.
Fox 2 News.
Yeah, I don't know. That's bullshit. But anyways, what else do we got here? We got a little. Oh yes. From Facebook, Hunter says, "Remember to keep those pipes warm so they don't freeze." You know,
when our kids
only
get
one
on
way
an
to do
electric
that.
school bus, they know that the green.
Yeah, make sure you keep those pipes warm. Then we've got this one here. Silicon Valley office vacancies stuck in double digits. I wonder why. December report from the research arms joint venture Silicon Valley and commercial real estate from JLL Silicon Valley shows demand for office space in the third quarter of 2023 has been weak, while competition for the tenant between landlords and companies subleasing their existing space is increasing. Silicon Valley office vacancy rates increased from 19.6 the end of the third quarter of September. That's a 1.5% increase over the prior quarter and about a 2% increase over the year. So yeah, and this is after, I remember talking to a buddy of mine who moved to, I think it was like, Washington State, that like, this is probably 7 to 10 years ago, that Silicon Valley already vacated California just because of its like shitty economical policies. So it's like, this is like the last of the Mohicans that are like evacuating now. Oh, yeah, I don't know about the like button thing. That's, yeah, I'm not sure, but thanks for trying anyways. Sorry about that. But anyways, we'll move on to the next one. We got a little clip from Tucker here. And let's see what Tucker has to say here. Reload this. Boop.
Ever to digitize currency, your freedoms would evaporate. They could zero out your bank account and make you impoverished for being disobedient. You would be a serf at best. And with that in mind, you should know that central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are about to become the norm in Europe. The president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, has just said that Europeans will not be able to use more than $1,000 in cash anymore.
Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market. You take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So you go to jail for spending your own money if they don't control it. If the government were...
Was that a new Julian Assange interview or another Julian that I'm forgetting here? But then we also have this here that is Nolte averaging monthly mortgage payment explodes to $3,322 in Biden's America. It says yes, and that's over $3,000 is nearly double the average monthly mortgage payment when his fraudulently assumed office. When former President Trump left office, the average mortgage payment was around $1,787. Yeah, that is nuts. And I feel that here too, just because of the, you can call it the rise in the, the value of houses, or you could more aptly call it the decrease in the value of the dollar. And we see that, like, oh, your house is appraised for more now, so now there's more property tax on it, and so then your mortgage is raised in that respect also. And we've definitely felt that here. But home ownership has become a pipe dream for more Americans, writes the Washington State Journal. Even those who could afford to buy just a few years ago, many would-be buyers are already feeling stretched thin by home prices that shot quickly higher in the pandemic. But at least the mortgage rates were low, the report adds. Now they're high, and many people are just giving up. But let's remember who these people are who are looking to enter the housing market: young people. And who do people vote for? Young people vote for overwhelmingly? Democrats. And so, allow me to welcome you to today's edition of People Getting What They Vote For. And yeah, that's pretty true. It is now less affordable than any time in recent history to buy a home. And the math isn't changing anytime soon. Home prices aren't expected to go back to pre-pandemic levels. The Federal Reserve, which started raising rates aggressively last year to curb inflation, hasn't shown much interest in cutting them. Mortgage rates slipped to about 7% last week, the lowest in several months. But they are still more than double of what they were a couple years ago. And yeah, that's true. I contemplated moving out of state, and we might still just do it, but unless we can sell and buy outright. It's like dealing with these new interest rates. That definitely changes the equation. Yeah, you get what you get. So maybe people start voting for, more affordable mortgages. Just, do your research, people, when you're voting. The Gen Zers. Let's see. Was this the same thing? This is, no, this is another one. Home prices hit a record high. So the other one was kind of about, mortgage rates. And this is just about overall prices of housing, or the prices of the homes themselves. And it had a little part highlighted down here. It says, mortgage rates topped 8% in October, the highest since summer 2000. Home prices have continued to defy predictions that higher rates could bring them down, or at least stop their rise. October was the 9th straight monthly rise. Home prices leaned to the highest mortgage rates recorded in this market cycle and continued to push higher, with mortgage rates easing as the Federal Reserve guiding them slightly more to an accommodating stance. Homeowners may be poised to see more appreciation, says Brian D. Luke, head of commodities, real and digital assets of S&P DJI, whatever the heck that is. But yeah, this is kind of seems like it's manufactured. You get the bankers, the BlackRocks and whatnot, just trying to make housing so unaffordable that people just be diving on these new parkingless high rises that are, being forced on the city levels, herding people out of the hills into these no parking, no car zones where you ride your bikes in the rain everywhere. Just, yeah. Yep. That's the future we're looking forward to. It's pretty brilliant. But this retired couple found a solution, because they're just along with, the more expensive rates we're seeing in housing. This also extends to retirement homes. So this retired couple booked 51 back-to-back cruises because it was cheaper than a retirement home. It says Marty and Jess Anson, an Australian couple, have embarked on a remarkable journey, booking impressive 51 consecutive cruises, surpassing 450 days aboard the Princess Cruise Coral Princess. Their seafaring adventure began on June 16, 2022, following 2 years of COVID lockdowns in Australia. Yeah, and I think they got a little video of them down here explaining their thing, so let's see what they got to say about it.
Now, most of us are lucky enough to spend a couple of weeks a year on holiday, but the couple you're about to meet decided that wasn't enough. Great-grandparents Jess and Marty love cruises so much, they decided to stay on board for, get this, 2 years. And they say it's cheaper than a nursing home.
Oh, look at this.
We on board longer than anybody else.
We welcome the different captains on board,
They're the couple who cruise more than the captains.
People might think you're crazy.
They may do, but it's not about them, it's about me, isn't it?
How about a cold beer?
Jess and Marty Anson have clocked up 15 months on the high seas.
Oh, that's nice and cold.
455 days. Joined on the 16th of June last year.
Yep, you heard that correctly. 455 days on board the Coral Princess. On day one last year, the couple sailed off from their home port of Brisbane.
You're standing in front of the Coral Princess.
Speaking to the Today Show ahead of their epic journey.
Talk to me about how you came up with this crazy idea.
Well, it's more to do with the 2 years without cruising, I suppose, and catching up on the cruises we've missed.
The couple has been cruising for decades, but jumped at the chance to hit the water again post-COVID.
And eventually I said to my agent, look, I said, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, doing a cruise during COVID would have probably been a nightmare, so to speak. I mean, you get stuck in a boat and quarantined, but yeah, I can see, these folks are just living it up. Why stay in a retirement home when you got, the best service you can get right there? So anyways, I had thought the Zoom meeting would automatically start because it was scheduled, but it didn't. So I started that if anybody wants to hop on the Zoom. But anyways, we've got another one here talking about spending habits of the Gen Zers. Action and activism. Gen Z influence on holiday shopping. So their activism just kind of influences the shopping that they do, or the shopping other people do, I guess. I don't know. While not considered traditional shoppers, Gen Z is still expected to have a major impact on the holiday sales this year. According to a recent PwC research, they will spend 50% more than in 2022, which is the widest percentage increase of any age group. Let's take a closer look at what this means. How Gen Z's shopping behavior is different from the other generations. Gen Z consumers crave personalized experiences. More than any other age group, according to the Statista research, 52% of Gen Zers are likely to buy a personalized gift versus 36% of the general public. That is one reason why e-commerce and increasingly social commerce is so influential. A Gen Z consumer is more likely to order a gift directly through social media marketplaces, which I guess, they'll get the Temu crap going on or whatever that is. But yeah, let's see here. Anyways, we got another little Facebook video clip, and let's see what this one is here. This is
and you could go, I'd like to take out $2,000, and they can say, no, you can't have it. So when you come into your bank and you give them $100 to open a checking account, just to make it an easy number, they hold $10 and they loan out $90. Now there's another guy who takes out a loan for $90. This guy doesn't just hold his $90, he goes and puts it in the bank. And so the bank holds 10% of that money and then loans out 90% of that to somebody else, who then puts that money in the bank. And then they take 10%. So when you actually look at the effect of it, there's not nearly as much money in the bank as we all think we have. So essentially, if everybody came into the bank, or even just too many people came into the bank and said, we'd like to withdraw our money, there's nowhere near enough money for them to give you. So inherently, the whole thing is kind of a house of cards. You could walk into the bank tomorrow.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about there that, take a loan out, you pay off someone that you owe, and they go and deposit it in the bank, and the bank goes and spends 90% of that, and they only got to keep 10% on site there to keep things rolling. So yeah, house of cards. I think that explains it pretty damn well. But what else do we got here? This is retail crime ring busted as major stores fear rising thefts heading into the holiday shopping season. Is this the video for it? Or is this just an ad?
Well, the holiday shopping season is ramping up, and so is organized theft. Jeff
This
Flock
is the video
at
for it.
outlets in Jackson, New Jersey this morning. Jeff, that mall was targeted by an organized shoplifting ring. What are they doing now to try and prevent more of this?
Well, what they're trying to do is continue to do what they did then, which is they got word of that, and then they brought the police in and staged a massive bust. That is what needs to take place more, retailers say, as this organized retail theft ramps up. Take a look at the pictures of some of the stuff that's being stolen on these rings. It's not real expensive stuff, Ashley. It's like, everything from deodorant to toothpaste to pain relievers, that sort of thing. Stuff that's easy to steal, conceal, and get away with.
Deodorant theft. What
These
the
rings,
hell?
this is
How dare you!
Have a headache, can't afford the Tylenol, so they went and stole a bottle. These are people that are paid by these rings to come in and steal specific items that can be resold on the internet. Organized retail crime, ORC, up 26% in 2021, and the suspicion is more this year. What does it cost the economy? Last time somebody did a study on it, $125 billion in lost economic activity, 650,000 jobs, and $15 billion in tax revenue to the economy. Who's getting hit? Well, you might guess drugstores, obviously a big one, some apparel retailers, food stores like Kroger, and then Target, which I think you reported last week on. You know, the CFO saying that they lost $400 million. I quote him now. I think what he said was, at Target year to date, incremental shortage, which is a fancy way of saying we got ripped off, has reduced gross margins by $40 million so far. We expect it'll reduce them by $600 million.
Yeah, and I was just watching something with our local Sheriff Hansel talking about Target and how they refuse to prosecute or refuse to do anything about the thefts just because of liability. They're more afraid of getting sued if their employees try to stop, any kind of theft than they are about the actual theft, I guess, because they have insurance or whatever. But that just kind of allows these, theft under 1,000 California laws to go unchecked, and people get really comfortable with going in and just ripping stuff off. They're like, hey, these stores aren't going to do anything about it. And then the prices just go up and up and up, and the consumers end up, eating the price. But yeah. Anyways, here's a clip of AOC defending these shoplifters here. And it's a clip of AOC defending shoplifters as hungry people seeking bread goes viral. And this is the old clip we were talking about in the article. And we'll see if we can play that thing real quick here.
This can opener is so fun. You can pop the lid off with a twist. Do you still open the bottle like that?
And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Yeah, but I think some of these people are shoplifting a little bit more than bread. Yeah, there's a little bit more than bread being stolen in some of these situations here. So, what do we got next here? We got another little Facebook clip, and it's talking about Biden being a puppet, Let's see here.
A messenger, a puppet or whatever, and he's not the ones actually making the policies. He's just a messenger, a puppet or whatever, and he's not the ones actually making the policies. He's just delivering them. Is there any truth to that?
He is compromised, and that is what makes me as an American most concerned. When I say compromised, it means he's controlled by China, because we know that the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, has paid him off. We know that Ukraine has given him payouts. Burisma has given him payouts. Moscow has given him payouts. Kazakhstan has given him money. The mainstream media is not covering it. This is fact.
They never caught Trump doing any of that.
No, but of course they lie about Trump and they say he's compromised and all of that. We've got the receipts on Joe Biden. So that means he's beholden to these other countries. And you see it with his policies, the wide open border, the destruction of our energy sector, of our economy, the unsafe streets, the indoctrination of our kids, running us into World War III. You see all of his decisions, and when you realize, oh, he's compromised, he's being paid by many of these different countries, then you start to realize why he's doing this. He's working to destroy America.
Yeah. Pretty sure he is. I mean, you can see it all around us, but I'm sure, what his response to that would be? It'd probably be something like this.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Exactly. Something like that, just completely deny it and say something just hysterically stupid, At least it's kind of funny, but even though it's not. But Biden demands that the media start reporting the right way. And this is what we're talking about in my article at the beginning. That, the economy's not bad. Everything's okay. Biden's critics have mocked his complaints about press coverage, saying legacy media outlets have tried to protect him while insistently attacking Trump. Independent journalist Glenn Greenwald noted that the Democratic National Committee was able to simply use NBC, CNN, and MSNBC clips to produce pro-Biden commercials because such networks are activist outlets and their employees are DNC propagandists. About 60% of U.S. voters believe that media bias has gotten worse in the recent months, rising to the highest level on record according to the Rasmussen reports poll released last week. Most of these critics see the media as favoring Biden, while 51% of respondents say the press was giving too little coverage to the scandals involving Biden's son. Just 24% said it was giving the issue too much attention. But yeah, you think they could have given a little bit more attention to Hunter, you know? I mean, just a little. But then we also have this here. But it is BlackRock will completely destroy Bitcoin, they're saying. Shock price warning as leak reveals huge spot in ETF date update. So I'm still unconvinced that, you know, cryptocurrencies aren't just another doorway to a CBDC. But, you know, if they're a threat to them and BlackRock feels threatened and is going after that might, you know, might give me a little bit to ponder on the situation. And it all seems like it could evaporate in an instant anyways, but got highlighted a little bit on this one. Maybe, is it way down here? I don't know. Maybe I forgot to highlight anything. Maybe it's just back at the top. I was going to just read from the top because it's right there, huh? It says, Bitcoin has rocketed higher this year after really dropping over the past couple of years, as far as I know. The Bitcoin price surging this month to highs not seen since early 2022, with a China earthquake suddenly appearing on the horizon. The Bitcoin price touched 45,000 per Bitcoin before dropping back slightly, climbing steadily since October as the market braces for the Biden bailout in 2024. I don't know what kind of bailout we're getting, and we're not Ukraine, so I doubt we're getting much of it. But now, after Wall Street giant BlackRock primed the market for a major upheaval, one legendary trader has predicted that the world's largest asset manager, looming Bitcoin spot exchange, traded fund ETF, could be about to completely destroy Bitcoin. So I don't know. It's interesting to contemplate. You know, it says Bitcoin's historical halving that's expected to cause crypto price chaos is just around the corner. That's what they're predicting. But yeah, I know it. Will BlackRock do that? And this is just, you know, some guy prognosticating. So who knows? We will see. Well, we got another little video clip here. And what does this say? This guy, he does like the Cubs to Bears book. So I like what he puts out, but I can see his marketing gimmick because he puts these like really crafty videos out. And then just at the end, he's like, oh yeah, check out my children's books. You know, you don't want him to, you know, be raised believing the lies that they're seeing in school and stuff. But I think it's an effective marketing because he usually uses some pretty well presented topics. But anyways, here we go. We'll reload and stop. Boop. There we go.
A federal income tax, and neither did George Washington or Thomas Jefferson. The first federal income tax was implemented in 1861 during the Civil War. It was repealed in 1871, and when they tried to restore the income tax in 1894, it was taken to court and ruled unconstitutional. The American Revolution started over taxes. The Founding Fathers didn't want a federal income tax, which is why the Constitution made a federal income tax basically impossible to implement. But in 1913, they changed the Constitution with the 16th Amendment. The public supported the amendment because they were told that it would make the rich pay their fair share. Are you starting to see the pattern? And the 16th Amendment was passed the same year as the Federal Reserve Act, which gave a small group of rich people a monopoly over printing money. And they get paid interest on that money, which is secured through, you guessed it, the federal income tax. This was the latest lesson in our study into the U.S. Constitution. Education that matters. Check out my private homeschool community and Cubs to Bears books. Or great-grand.
Yeah, but yeah, check out that guy's stuff. He usually makes some pretty good content, and, you know, might be a good early education tool with his Cubs to Bears books also. Anyways, this is yeah, millennial TikTokers, yep. Or millennium TikTokers. It's good stuff. That guy's putting out some good stuff, and lots of people on TikTok are, you know, despite it being a Chinese spy app, once I got on there, there is a lot of stuff on there that, they censor. It's weird because in some ways they censor harder than YouTube does. It's like you try to stick anything about the vax or the shots, anything like that, and just like, bam, it's a shut down hardcore. This is China. What the hell are you thinking, boy? But yeah, pretty funny. But then some stuff just doesn't get touched. It's pretty weird altogether. But this one here is Rothschilds say WF will soon control what users purchase in new cashless society. And I think we're already seeing this over in Europe, if I saw correctly, is you can't buy anything in the UK right now with over $1,000 worth of cash, or it's like a prosecutable offense. They can arrest you for buying something for like, $1,500. Like, if you want to buy a car for cash, just can't do it. So this is, pretty ridiculous. They want to have everything documented just so you can get double, triple taxed on whatever, whatever iteration of purchase you're doing. It's like, oh yeah, it's a used vehicle. It's already been taxed to death on every purchase. It's been sold 3 times before. We just got to tax it again on this sale and make sure you don't claim that you bought it for $500 or something. Like, I'm sure none of us have ever done that before, get a used vehicle and get them to sign off that you bought it for less than it was. That just wouldn't be, that just wouldn't be right. None of us would do that. But anyways, as CIC's website goes on to state that the CIC council members make actionable commitments aligned with the World Economic Forum International Business Council's pillars for sustainable value creation: people, planet, principles of governance and prosperity, and that advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. CIC founder and CEO is the Lady Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. Her third husband was British financier Sir Evelyn Robert de Rothschild. The two were introduced to each other by their mutual friend Henry Kissinger at the 1998 Bilderberg Group conference in Scotland. Sir Evelyn died last year, leaving most of his fortunes to Lady Lynn, which meant that a multi-million-pound wedge of Rothschild wealth passed out of the 200-year-old British branch of the family empire. According to page 6, after botching Sir Evelyn's funeral, Lady Lynn had officially worn out her welcome with the London social set. She's been run out of town, a source told page 6. But anyways, let's see. I saw this on Facebook and I thought it was fucking hilarious. This is the free stand up for science mug. So it's the earth is not flat. It's like, well, that's, I don't know. I've never been to space, but I'm starting to doubt anything we've been taught. And I just say I'll wait till I get to space to check it out to make a final decision on that. Now, the second one, vaccines work. I mean, I definitely have my doubts on that one. And then we've been to the moon. I mean, I definitely have doubts on that one too. Chemtrails aren't a thing. Definitely have doubts on that one as well. Climate change is real. And then stand up for science. So all this put together, I mean, I think we could make a entirely different mug just out of the first, like the article I did with the Biden, just all the economy is good. There is no problem at the southern border. Exactly. All that stuff, We could totally make multiple mugs in this format and they'd be equally as hilarious. But anyways, we've got So this was Biden orders strike on Iranian-backed group in Iraq after the U.S. troops injured in drone attack. And this was, kind of the final parting thought of the article that I put together. And it just kind of leads into like what a lot of people have been prognosticating, that there's going to be some scare events. You put this together with all the unchecked individuals coming across the border. many who are, being found even by our inept FBI that they are, on a terrorist watch list, and they're just getting shipped all over the country. So what happens when, we've got, war with pretty much Iran, who Biden pretty much gave him money to build nuclear stuff. It's a lot of possible bad World War III type stuff on the horizon. That's what we're looking out for, and we're gonna go into discussion mode on this little segment here, and then there's one final video to watch on the Biden airstrikes after that. But anyways, into the discussion, and also at the same time, if anybody wants to, the number's there. You can call in and say hi, or there's the Zoom link in the comments at the top. But anyways, we're going to go into the discussion mode here. Yes, here we are. But, so yes. Living in this gaslit media firing squad as we do, it's tough to get a bearing on what the hell's actually going down. With both our governor here in California and our beloved President Brandon painting a delusional picture of reality, some people get sucked into the fantasy, mainly only for the sake that so many people are playing along with it. The need for consensus seems to outweigh what is plain to see right before many people's eyes. The ever-increasing homelessness pandemic on our doorstep of every business people walk into on a daily basis just gets overlooked. But nope. Everything's fine and dandy. California had a surplus last year. A surplus of bullshit, I tell you. And as usual, California has set the standard for the rest of the country that Biden is trying to sell us. So what can you do if you got your bullshit windshield wipers on and you can't actually see out your window? You don't want to roll down your window to, tell other people driving in a lane next to you. So maybe you just honk your horn really loud, the nearest vehicle flying in. Let's see. We got a caller. Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, this is Dee.
Hey there, Dee. How's it going? This is Ash. Pretty good here. So, yeah.
I'm liking your show. Thank you for all the stories and staying on the council and the board supervisor, you and Johnny. It's hard to keep up on all this stuff, and you guys have been really faithful and keeping people informed on what's going on. I really appreciate you both. I just wanted to say that to you. I'm glad I got to catch your show live. I've been trying to catch it live, and I keep missing it. And, it takes time. I definitely know how long it takes to get people to engage with you in this kind of format and stuff. But I think you guys you're doing all the right things. You're getting on the TikTok and doing the shorts and doing the polls. I mean, that was awesome to hear you guys brought that poll to the city council.
That actually wasn't us. That was like one of the.
Didn't you guys do it? Yeah, I thought you did do one. You did do another poll, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've done a poll at another time, but that one that was part of the bike lane thing was someone else there.
Yeah, that's great too to see community engagement. At first I put excellent, then I put great, but it's really just good.
Yeah.
It's not like killer engagement or anything. We always want to see more people that care. So this is great that you're doing this. Wednesday 8:30. Do you have Monday night, right?
Yeah, he does like Monday at 6, and yeah, that's pretty much the time slots we picked out there. But
Yeah, that's great. No, I just want to support you. You got my friend here from North Carolina. There's people that watch what's going on in Humboldt. Believe it or not, there's people that are watching that are righteous people, and I don't think we need a whole lot of numbers. numbers. I think that we just have to keep doing what we're doing and keep sharing the truth, and hopefully more people will start to give you more attention than they give the other media outlets that do nothing but just lie to people and push the grant money and push the New World Order, all of it. So I'm just so thankful for you, and I wanted to just be able to support you tonight.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that, and thanks for tuning in. It's really good to hear feedback, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll be praying that this grows more and more.
Yeah, hopefully so. Okay, thanks. Oh yeah, we'll do. Bye. So yeah, that was longtime friend in the local freedom movement, D, calling in, and thanks so much for paying attention and tuning in tonight. But anyways, what I was talking about was just pretty much, what can we do with all these people who are still glued to the bullshit. Maybe no amount of noise or concerned gazes or whatever we do will get the attention of some of these folks. They're under the shit spell, and things need to get a little bit worse till the shift starts leaking, or the shit starts leaking into their house or their car, wherever it is, and they start to smell some kind of funky smell, something like that. I don't know exactly what needs to happen, but I think it's all in progress. It's coming down the shit chute. But anyways, we're gonna watch this one last little video here on Biden ordering the airstrikes on the Iranian forces in Iraq, and this will kind of tide us over here.
Escalating conflict in the Middle East. It's time for the Daily Debrief. Let's get right to it. President Biden ordered retaliatory airstrikes against Iran-backed terrorists after they injured 3 American soldiers in northern Iraq. The airstrikes come as conflict in the Middle East continues to escalate, and U.S. officials have yet to rule out additional use of force. White House officials said President Biden made the decision while spending Christmas with family at Camp David, but he has since returned to the White House. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said in a statement that while the U.S. does not seek to escalate conflict, we are fully committed and fully prepared to take further necessary measures to protect our people and our facilities. Israeli Foreign Minister Ron Dermer is in Washington this week, briefing White House and congressional officials about Israel's war against Hamas. Dermer is expected to brief members of Congress as well on additional phases of Israel's conflict against Hamas. In a Wall Street Journal op-ed published on Christmas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel would continue its war until Hamas is destroyed. All right, let's head to the Decision Desk 2024 update, where Nikki Haley has now replaced Ron DeSantis as Donald Trump's rival-in-chief. With just a few weeks until the January 15th Iowa caucus and the January 25th New Hampshire primary, Nikki Haley is polling 13 percentage points behind Trump in the Granite State. Haley's campaign is saying that she's got momentum, but whether it's a blip or a surge remains to be seen. Trump world, meanwhile, they're not taking any chances. Sources close to the campaign say that they've got the benefit of 2 presidential cycles worth of experience to mobilize a base that they say will not desert Trump. Haley's orbit, meanwhile, is pushing to get Chris Christie out of the race. She's arguing that supporters of the former New Jersey governor turned sharp Trump critic would back Haley over Trump in a primary. And then there's DeSantis, who is still polling second in Iowa behind Trump. But Republican strategists have told me in the last few days that they're wondering if
who are pushing for diplomacy with Iran where it's possible because of fear over its nuclear program will worry that this kind of action by the U.S. might raise tensions in the region in a way that could develop into a larger conflict.
Maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
So put simply, that's what's happening in Iraq. But why should Americans care about the Iran-backed Houthi rebels attacking vessels in the Red Sea?
This is a major area of commerce, of transportation, and if it's not safe for vessels to transit through there, our whole supply system can get disrupted.
And so, meanwhile, here in Washington, Israeli Foreign Minister Ron Dermer, he's meeting with officials. What's he going to be doing?
There's probably a lot to talk about between US officials and Israeli officials. They're still trying to work to get these negotiations to release hostages from Hamas. Israel and the US are in deep conversations with Qatar to try and get Hamas to come into some agreement in releasing more hostages. There's about 129 that are still in Hamas captivity. But it's also about how Israel's continuing to prosecute its war against Hamas with a really unbelievable death toll in the Gaza Strip, somewhere around 20,000, although it's difficult to verify those numbers. And then there's the concern about this conflict expanding into a wider war in the region. There's always attacks happening across the border between Hezbollah and Lebanon and Israel, and then these concerns about attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East and where Iran is in supporting its proxy groups.
I want to ask you about the Ukraine funding fight happening in Washington when they return in the next couple of weeks. You've traveled to Ukraine on the ground, reporting on the war there. What impact is the funding going to have should it reach President Zelensky of Ukraine?
There's both a political signal and a practical implication to this funding actually being delivered. The political signal is that the U.S. is standing with Ukraine, and I received messages over Christmas. This was the first time that Ukrainians held Christmas on December 25th, as they tried to separate themselves more from Russia and the Russian Orthodox Church, which is such a powerful political figure in Russia. And so I received messages of Merry Christmas from Ukrainians in Ukraine, and I said, what do you want to see from the U.S.? And they really want to see this package come through, if only to show that America still supports Ukraine.
And wrong. Yeah. Let's say Biden. Who cares if
people are dying?
And not say the who cares, but I mean, it's not about that with the funding of Ukraine, because we know it's not going to aid to stop the people from dying. It's just going to perpetuate, pretty much. We've seen with I think it was like the Sam Bankman-Fried thing, where the money that goes to Ukraine was pretty much getting shipped back to U.S. politicians, and it was something like at a rate of 70% of the money went to the Democrat politicians, and like 30% of the funds that got kicked back to politicians from the Ukrainian fund went to Republicans. So there's a lot of it going around, but yeah, send the money over there. It's just to fund all their untowardly activities. But anyways, we're gonna call that good for the night. And thanks for the people who tuned in here, and for anybody who watches this after the fact, it'll be up on YouTube and for a week or so on my Twitch channel. Then also slap it up on our Rumble. So, yep, like, follow, share on all the things, and thanks so much for watching, people. Till next time.